hit the second case, and I am glad I actually got around to watching this. Hello there, namaste. First thing I'll say is I watched Hit, the first case, but it was the remake version. So when I watched the second case, I got a little confused when they were doing references to the first film, because I realized I hadn't seen the original first film. I saw the remake of the first film. When laid-back cop KD investigates a gruesome murder case, he quickly finds the stakes rising high and the threat dangerously close to home as he starts to unravel the crime. So this film starts off with a man whose business trip or whatever got postponed like a week, and he's returning home to his wife. Turns out she's having an affair, so he kicks her out of his house. She basically tells him not to tell anyone. My understanding is she formed an organization. Anyone who's aware of like the Me Too movement, where like women who have been battered and abused come together to, you know, it sounds like something that's good, but this really did seem to hit the nail on the head what that became. Because this woman basically created an organization, or went to an organization about battered women, and pretended that he had been beating her and abusing her when she was the one at fault. The next thing we know, we see him lose his job, lose everything around him. He ends up building a treehouse, and then nothing. It skips to us following the detective as he immediately solves a crime within 5 minutes. And at the start, I didn't really care for the detective. He had, again, a very laid-back personality. He didn't seem to care as much. He'd show up to crime scenes not in uniform, just in his regular clothes, and it felt off. It's like if you're gonna go to work, you show up in your uniform. You're an officer. You do that kind of stuff. But his character's kind of contradictory because he believes in doing everything by the book, but he's also laid back because when he starts a case, he's willing to commit to it no matter what until he gets it solved. He ends up getting a case thrown into his lap of a murdered woman and who's been cut into pieces. They do an autopsy report, and it turns out that the majority of the body parts, or all body parts, are from several different women. He has a serial killer case on his hands, so he's trying to investigate and find out. There's this one part where he's trying to find someone like halfway through the film that he thinks he's got him, and that person starts running from the cop. Like, that thing didn't make any sense. If the cops are coming to interrogate you, you talk to them. And then the guy who, after he ran from the cops, after he assaulted the cops and everything, he goes, I want a lawyer. And the first thing that popped into my head is like, you're not in the US, man. You're not given the same rights. The cops can beat you as much as they want. And then they ended up having all the proof they needed. Just like they could beat you all they wanted. This isn't the US. You're in India. How dumb are you? You're gonna get beat to a pulp. And then in the end, he ends up getting Epsteined. And that's going to end up being a phrase. I'm going to use that here. It just works. It works. He got Epsteined. But it turns out that that man was innocent. The reason why he wouldn't talk about his alibi was because he was meeting a friend who was a female, didn't want to drag her into the whole thing. Again, you can talk to the cops. Get them involved. You don't have to talk to the public, which gets the world involved. It's just like talking to the cops isn't talking to the media. Again. I know things from here in the US. I know how it works here. You can talk to the cops and have your name stricken from the record as long as they clear your name. That's what it's about. That will prevent you from getting Epsteined. But of course they had the wrong guy, and then they need to continue the hunt, finding out that there have been a ton of women who have disappeared, and they've all been affiliated with this one organization. And immediately I'm just like, of course it's gonna involve this somehow. But it's like, who is it? Is it the husband? It's gotta be the husband, because I felt like he'd be justified in killing his wife. I mean, I was just like, yep, she's destroyed your life. She's ruined everything. I mean, there's so many people whose lives were ruined during the Me Too movement. But one thing I found fascinating was like, I didn't care, because when you find out who this guy is and how many women he's killed, I was just like, okay, I don't mind that he's killing women, because in a way, he's got a weirdly justifiable, it isn't justifiable, but I think that's why he does it, because he knows he's wrong. He doesn't force himself onto these women. He just kills them. There's a difference when you take advantage of a woman's body and when you tear it to pieces. I don't know, that doesn't sound right, but there is a complete difference. There is a complete difference whether you do something to them before they die or you're just tearing their bodies apart because you want a trophy. I don't know. It might not make sense to no one, but to me, it makes sense. This is where I basically mentioned the spoiler of the whole thing. The guy at the origin of the story, whose wife had been cheating on him, who turns out they had a son. The son was about, what, 10, 12 years old, 14 years old at the time when they broke it off. He was completely aware of what his mother was doing the entire time. You're there. You've witnessed everything. Your father gets pulled out of the house, gets beaten by everyone because your mother, who's at fault, has accused him of things he has never done. You could open your mouth. And what's the saying? Evil men win when good guys do nothing, say nothing. It's basically that. He said nothing in the beginning. And when he realized his father took his own life due to that action, he probably felt guilt. And this is just what I'm putting onto him. He didn't physically take advantage of their bodies. He didn't, well, I guess cutting to pieces kind of is, but you know what I mean. He didn't do that. He was just angry, wanting to get revenge because he messed up as a child. That's what I see. That's how I saw it. And it was like, this makes sense. You don't do that. You don't have to force yourself onto women to get that satisfaction of revenge. No, he was getting it out of just killing them, taking out that organization that his mother had founded or whatever, because his mother was a prostitute and apparently wanted an avenue for all of that women empowerment type thing. It's funny because a lot of people, even in the US, think that it's woman empowering to just sleep around. It's wrong for both men and women. It doesn't make it right. Cheating's cheating. I mean, there's no justification to it. But in this story, there are two things that make no sense. KD needs CCTV footage to find out who was putting the photos on his Jeep. Well, the first time a photo was left on his Jeep was right outside the prison, right after the Epstein situation, where the guy Epsteined himself. There is CCTV footage, cameras all over a prison. Just run them back, find out who's there. He goes directly from the prison all the way to the place that belongs to the photo that was on the picture. And Kumar's there, and he's inside the house with his girlfriend as the cop is investigating the house. He doesn't move from there. And when the cop goes outside, keep in mind, doesn't move from there. No one in the house leaves the house. The cop goes outside, and a new picture is on his car's dashboard. I don't know. I don't know. But one thing I did like was that piece of dialogue at the end, because deep down it seems like Kumar had probably felt it, but the officer hit the nail on the head where your mother was a prostitute. Are you sure your father was yours? There's no resemblance. Absolutely none. He looks nothing like his father. I got to say, I did like KD's romantic interest. She seemed to have a level head on her shoulders. I liked her character. I enjoyed her, and she, of course, is the new head of that woman empowerment group. I actually did enjoy this film. I kind of wish there was more of a puzzle to solve, because at the end, if you look back at it, it's just like there aren't really any hints trickled out that he is the character we're looking for, that there aren't any. And that's kind of what sucks. It's like I would have liked some kind of notice. I would have liked something to let us know, oh, this is a clear indication that it's him. We get nothing like that. Anyways, this made me excited for the third part, even though I don't care for it, because KD won me over throughout. I didn't like him in the beginning. It won me over throughout. The first one, the original one, I haven't seen. I saw the remake, so I'll just leave that out. But he seems a little too over the top for the third case, because he shows up to a wedding with the body in the back of his police vehicle. It's okay. But yeah, that's where we're going. That's where we're going. Thank y'all for watching. Talk to you next time. Toodles.
You guys got a video? don't forget to like and subscribe.
Wait, wait a second.